Few months ago, I bought a camera. I bought this beast, Sony. What the heck was that? I bought. Hello and what's up everyone, my name is Salman Sayyed and welcome back to another video. A few months ago I bought this camera, Sony A7 Mark IV. And since I bought this camera has become my go-to camera. It is a hybrid camera. Basically, it's really good for photography, which 34 megapixel, as well as with videography, 4K with 60 frames per second. In my last video about this camera, I shared the unboxing and a couple of awesome features about this camera. If you haven't seen that video, you'll find the link somewhere here or maybe here. I just don't get that right. Somewhere you'll get on the link. You'll also get the link at the bottom in the description. So go ahead, watch this video. I'm sure you'll like it. Since this camera came out, like from the time it's been released, it has been in the news. A lot of people are talking about one big issue this camera is having, and that issue is real. I face it too. It is called overheating and auto shut off. It basically overheats even in the coldest weather. So like I was filming outside in the snowy weather and then it shows me this overheating warning, and then it automatically went off. It just shuts off. And I was like, did I just buy a wrong camera? Because I invested about $3,000 in this camera with this kit lens. $3,000 camera just shuts off, saying overheating in the winter was like an issue. And I was like, oh my god, what do I do? So I started reading about it and I found a couple of videos and things like that, and finally I learned it's not the camera issue, it's just a setting. So to solve this overheating and auto shutting issue with this Sony camera, all you gotta do is go to setting in your camera. So click on the setting menu button, last step with this bag icon. I call it a bag icon because it looks like a bag to me. You click on that bag icon, then setup, you go to item number 9, power setting option. From here, you go to auto power off temp. Temp stands for temperature. It's basically camera has this standard setting. Whenever it feels like it's overheating, it just shuts off. So all you have to do is change that standard to high. That's it. That's how it just solves all the problem. And after that, it never shuts off. Trust me, after that, I've been using this camera for a long time. It's been almost 2 months. It did not shut off. Why am I so positive about this setting? Why am I saying that after changing this setting, everything is perfectly fine? Because I tested this theory. I tested this theory based on the usage. So I actually took this camera out to use and to film more videos and see if it shuts off or if it doesn't, whether it boosts its performance or not. So I took this camera for a small hike called Ensign Peak. This is a small hike in south part of Salt Lake City, right behind the Capitol building of the state of Utah. This hike has 2 viewpoints from where you can see the entire Salt Lake City and the valley. First viewpoint is about 10 minutes walk, very easy and everyone can do it. But the second viewpoint, where this religious monument is constructed, is a little bit high. Depending on your speed and energy, you'll spend roughly 40 minutes to an hour to reach here. So in today's video, whenever I'll be talking to the camera, I'm going to use my GoPro 9. But whenever I'll take a B-roll or a photo or a good shot, mostly video, I'm going to use my Sony A7IV just to see how long the battery lasts, and if it gets overheated, or if it does, then how you can solve it, or does it ever actually get overheated. I think there are 3 viewpoints on this hike. The first one we visited was at the lowest point from where we could easily see the Capitol building. This is the second one you can see right behind me. This is also pretty beautiful. You can see the Capitol building and the whole city right behind me. And from here, the view looks really amazing. But the only problem from here is the sun is right on my left. So I'm not gonna get sunset behind the buildings or over the city. I will get sunset in this empty area It's not exactly empty, it's just the suburb, Salt Lake City, the airport area. And the third viewpoint, I believe, is right somewhere over there. I can see a lot of people are going, so, and it's pretty up high. Well, for the sake of this video, I will do it. I will go beyond my limit and try to do the highest point of this hike, and I'll see how it looks from there. If it looks good from there, I'll do the time lapse from there. Otherwise, I'll come back and go to the lowest point, I think, because I like that. I think my power of hiking, my ability to hike is almost dying. I cannot hike anymore. I started from there, this peak if you see here, and now I'm in the middle to the top or to the highest point of this hike. I hope I'll make it. Yeah, and I've been filming a lot with this camera. It hasn't shut down yet, and it hasn't given me any sign or signal or warning of overheating or anything. After leaving from the second peak point, which is that big tower where you see this big pillar, from there to come here, it took me about 35 to 40 minutes. I thought it will take less than that, but it is way harder than I thought. And I thought this would be the main actual point where everything would end, but behind me, if you see, there are more peaks. Like you guys can see it, and you can go as far as you want. I think this mountain range, they never end, so I'm not gonna go further than that. I just sat down here for a while. I took a beautiful time lapse of this sunset, which you guys can see on your screen. Now I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna go to the main Capitol building, which is the most beautiful building, one of the most beautiful buildings here in the state of Utah or Salt Lake City. And from there, I'm going to take some more videos and some beautiful time lapse if possible. It took me a while to come down from the hike because of my broken foot, but I made it and it was worth it. By the time I reached down to the Capitol building, it was already dark, but still I took this time lapse and I used photo mode, like continuous interval photo modes, and I took about 300 plus photos to take this time lapse, and I hope this looks good. Now I am back in the house again from where we started the video. It's not the very same day when I went to the hike because I was super tired when I came back, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna make any video at this moment. I'll do it later. So it's about a couple of days since I returned from that hike. I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for asking. Yeah, not so bad. Now let's talk about this camera again. How did it perform? Did it shut off while I was using it? And was it good? Was it worth everything? So I took this camera with my 28-70mm lens as well as with my 50mm lens, which I actually did not use at all. I just used this 70mm with a ND filter on that. I carried 3 batteries, but to be honest, I just used 1 battery, and by the time I reached home, using the camera for entire hike, about a couple of hours I spent. I was there when the sun was almost up, and then by the time I came home around 10:30 p.m. and I just used 1 battery on the hike, and the half battery, to be honest, I used for time lapse of the Capitol building. Performance wise, I really love it. I love how long the battery lasted. It was pretty good. It was more than I expected, to be honest, and it did not shut off at all. During the entire process, it did not shut off. I did not even get the sign or the warning of saying, oh, temperature is too hot, it's gonna go shut. I did not get any of those things. I think it's just the system setting, you gotta change it. I also heard there are people saying like it is a software update, like a firmware update, so make sure you are using the latest firmware always in your new technology to get the most out of your camera. So the question is now, do I recommend you to buy this camera? Well, it depends how much you wanna spend. I spent about roughly $3,000 with 1 kit lens, and then I bought another lens and the ND filter, extra battery, all those things. If you want to spend that much money, $3,000, go for it and buy it. It's really good camera. I personally love it, and I think this is my favorite camera so far. So I hope you learned something from this video. I hope I answered your question about Sony A7 Mark IV and its overheating issue. To be honest, it's not an issue, it's just the setting, you have to change it. If this video was helpful and if you learned something out of it, if you enjoyed it, then show your love by hitting that like button. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and click on the bell icon so that you get all the notifications of my upcoming videos. Why am I saying that? Because, hold on over there. I have one more surprise for you guys. In the upcoming video, I will be unboxing and talking about this little guy. Can you see that? I recently bought this DJI Mavic Air 2. It's a drone which has 4K video quality with 60 frames per second and 8K time lapse. So I'm going to do an unboxing video about this little guy, which you can see here, and I hope you will enjoy that too, and I'll also give my honest feedback about this drone. So I'll see you very soon with another exciting video. Until then, my lovely people, do whatever you want to do in life. Don't forget to stay happy. Ciao. It's too far. Ciao.